This is the last use case we are looking at in the library system. And it's a little tricky. It may be a little unclear if you just read the book what this is going to be doing. So try to understand this well. This use case is for processing holds. What do we mean by this? Well, we know that members can place holds on books, reservations for books. And every day maybe after the library closes its doors to the members, some library staff member is going to see what books were returned that day and had holds, and who the corresponding members are, and who should be informed that their books are now available. Suppose 3 books were returned on a particular day that had holds, then we should find out for those 3 books who the corresponding members are, who the first person in the queue are for being told that their corresponding books are available. That is the purpose of this use case. But there are some subtleties that are going to creep in here. We will talk about that in a second. So first, the clerk issues a request to process holds. Since there could be many books that were returned on that day and had holds, this is going to be in a loop. So you can see that from step 6, we are going to step 2. So there is a loop that asks for the book's ID. Remember that the clerk has kept all the books that had hold in a separate pile. So at the end of the day, maybe there are 3 books in that pile that had holds. When they were returned, the system informed that they had holds, so they were kept aside. So at the end of the day, the clerk has access to all those books, so has access to all the corresponding book IDs. So the clerk enters the ID of a book. The system looks at the holds for that book. Now, there is some tricky issue going to come up here. It is possible that all the reservations, all the holds on that particular book have expired. Remember that every hold has a validity period for which the hold should be active. So if the holds have expired, then if all the holds of a book have expired, then it is not of any interest to any of those people who place the holds, and it should not be the members should not be informed because they don't have any more interest in that book. So that is the tricky part. So the system returns the name and phone number of the first member with an unexpired hold on the book. If all holds have expired, the system responds that there is no hold. So the system then asks if there are any more books to be processed. And here, what is the clerk seeing? The clerk sees whether there is a hold or not. If there is no hold, of course, the book should be just shelved. So that is the first thing. If there is no hold, the book is shelved. Otherwise, the system has displayed the name and phone number of the member with an unexpired hold. Okay, so that information is printed out and put in the book, and presumably this clerk will make a phone call to that person, to that member, saying, the book is now available. But the third thing is the system has asked if there are more books to be processed. So this clerk has to look at the pile of books that were put in this stack on his or her table and see whether there is one more book that had a hold. And then the clerk would answer yes or no. If the answer is yes, then the system has to process one more hold.